This week I conducted kind of a casual experiment on Facebook. It's not scientific by any stretch of the imagination. I was just curious. Ask the religious, how important is obedience to God? Everybody always says obedience is so important. We need to be obedient. Please help me be obedient. They pray for the strength to be obedient. Obedience, obedience, obedience. And then, of course, you bring up the story of God's command to Abraham in Genesis 22. God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will show you. Now, ultimately, God pulled the plug at the last minute, and they sacrificed a ram instead. But this story draws out some very interesting lines of reasoning when people try to defend it. So as a casual experiment, totally unscientific, I was just testing the waters, watching the random responses flow in. I had this question put to various Christians on Facebook to see their responses. And I said, look, if God commanded you, just like he commanded Abraham, to do the same thing, sacrifice your own child, would you do it? The vast majority of believers said absolutely not. To their credit, they said they would not do it. But just check out a few of the responses. To be honest, probably not. I would have failed the test if it were my son. Glad God hasn't required that of anyone in 6,000 years. But Abraham had so much faith in God that he knew even if he killed Isaac, God would have brought him back to life. He knew God that well. Now look at the first sentence. Failure is the word that comes right to mind as they defend the life of their own child. They didn't say, I won that battle and guarded my child with my very being, because that is the moral act. They said, I would fail God in this regard. Even as a Christian, no. Very encouraging to hear that, by the way. I couldn't do it. Here's one. I make sure we live in a way that wouldn't give God an excuse to ask me to do that to one of my girls. It's a victim mentality, isn't it? I hope I'm living well enough so he doesn't ask me to kill my child. I would have responded to God if given the same command that my children's lives are more important than his command and his test of my faith. Good for them. Here's one. As an atheist, you seem to be more interested in the Bible than most Christians I know. WTF? How many people have heard that one? For a non-believer, y'all sure are interested in the Bible. Y'all sure know a lot about the Bible. You know more about the Scriptures than most Christians I know. Do they have any idea how telling this statement is? You guys know the Bible better than we do. Absolutely we do. If God were to appear before me and command me to kill my own child to show obedience, I would. If God appeared before me and told me to do anything, I would do it. I would not doubt the Almighty, as it's not wise to anger God. Can you imagine? Although we're no one to judge what God will and will not do. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says, don't waste your time on godless chatter, LOL. I'd love to talk more about this sometime. I read it in front of my computer. I just busted out laughing. Here's a post from an atheist. He said, I had about 20 responses, mostly from my Christian friends. A few asked if they could pick the child. And another one, if the little bastard doesn't stop running into my bedroom and start jumping on me at 3 a.m., I might consider.